Hello,
We're
we
here.
are here. We are here for another monthly review.
Yeah, this is a big one. Big one for us.
Yeah, I guess it's another con one, right?
That's true.
We here in DFW have Fort
over a
Worth
little
Game
bit here.
Club. It's, I guess,
Fort
relatively
Worth Game Night, yeah. So
big
they're
around here, and so they put on a convention each year that is really, honestly, pretty good for just like a local convention. I don't know, I'd say 200 people or so. So
hey, you're finally done with travel. I need to be up here, so it's not on my face.
yeah,
That's
yeah. Tons of chat. Post tattoo Paul up all night long.
yeah. Yeah, so they have this kind of not monthly, but they have a once a year con. And how many people do you think?
Oh,
whoa,
I'm sorry, I
whoa.
grabbed the wrong
You
one.
need to lock that
That was
down.
the wrong one. My bad.
Look at us, like a bunch of noobs here.
Yeah,
But yeah, so they have a yearly con. That's probably, I don't know. They said they've got a couple hundred people there. Heart Mom too. Why not? But this year, like they moved it to another place.
Yes, flying dads. Correct. Yeah. When you don't hit the lock buttons.
Yeah. So they moved it to a different place that they said is bigger, but it honestly felt a little bit tighter than the one that we'd gone to previously. But I think they said there was way more people there. So anyway, it was really good. We've actually already got our tickets for next year's to go because I think it came out to like 3 days is like $35 or something like that. So it's like it's a thing that
Dirt cheap. It's pretty good library. It's a library that's basically donated to. So like people say, hey, I'm gonna bring these 5 games, and then that's part of the library.
Bring those 5.
That's part of the library, and then you just take them home with you, right?
Yeah, and what was really cool this year was they introduced a play to win library also, right? So they had said like either publishers or people that didn't want the games anymore, that they couldn't sell it, or demo copies from places. They just kind of put them out there and said, hey, play this game, and your name will be entered into a drawing, and if you get it, you win the game, kind of thing. So lucky enough, we did win one of those games, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I actually already talked about it in my month in review last year. So, what's new to the collection last month. So
yeah. But yeah, so because of that, we played, I don't know, it was 30, what was it?
39, I think, is what you
39
got, yeah.
games. So for us, that's a good month. For
Agreed.
Just a couple dads that are playing during our free time, that is definitely good. But we will...
Looking at the chat over here, it seems like some of you guys had some good games. Patrick, you had a ton of games. Le Havre, love that game. Have you played it before? I'm assuming you have. I think... Oh, I said it before. I think that game entered my top 10. It's definitely a good one. Guild of Merchant Explorers, we've played that one. It's okay. It's nothing...
Is that the one with the cubes?
That's the one with the cubes.
Yeah,
and
I
that.
do not enjoy that game.
Devin didn't enjoy it. I beat him at that game. I beat Joe at that game. It was okay. It was fine. Forest Shuffle is one that I've wanted to try. I know I've said that a couple times. First and Goal for... I'm going to assume that's...
First and Goal for the new football season. I'm assuming it is a football game that he is saying he played because the season just started yesterday.
Oh, the season started yesterday? I don't watch any football. Are you doing fantasy again?
So, I haven't done fantasy for like the last 3 years, maybe 4 years, right? Joey was getting all the wives together to do like a wives league.
Okay.
It sort of was taking, sort of wasn't. Basically, I think 4 of the wives committed. Lacey was one of them. So then Joey was like, well, hey, why don't we just make it a couples league with the 4
nice.
that... so Joe and Shelby are in it. Joey and Brandy are in it. And then a couple others that you don't know.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so we are doing fantasy again. Joey asked me about draft, right? And this is very last minute, right? You don't. I mean, typically you draft close to the start, but like not week.
Not once it started.
No, well, you can't then, but not the week of. And so he's like, "Hey, what day would work for you? Monday or Tuesday?" And I'm like, "Monday's a holiday. I know I'm going to be busy all day. Can't do that. So let's do Tuesday." Didn't even think that is Bible study for me. So I basically listed position. We had 17 spots on the team, right? I listed spots 1 through 17 and just told Lacey, take the top running back, wide receiver for each pick, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, I want you
Just
to have
the top.
You don't need to put any thought into it. Just when it's my pick, if it's pick, 1, I want the top running back. If it's pick number 2, I want top wide receivers. Pick number 3, another running back, and I did that all the way down the list of like, this is what I'm going to. So it came out okay. The team is like not
amazing
by any
but
means, but it's better than auto draft. I know that for sure. So anyway, that's what I had to do. So yeah, we're doing it for the first time. Also, the guys at work were wanting to do like a pick'em league, and so we're doing that. It's like, I don't know, I want to say 40 something people are in it,
Jeez.
right? So if you win 1 week, like you make a little bit more than your entry, and then the winner at the end. I will not win that, and they know I will not win that. I'm donating $20 to them, and they're well aware of that. But what I did say is, I'm either going to do one of two things. I'm either picking all home teams, or I'm just picking favorites. Right? We're gonna go the Vegas way and just play the odds.
That's awesome. So. That's cool. Yeah, I don't follow football. I'll watch it when the playoffs are on, but that's it. And then let's see, I always mispronounce it. Yomi got Cthulhu, Death May Die, and Dice Throne. Who'd you play for Dice Throne? We got some Dice Throne in. It's been a while since we've played it. And then I've never played Cthulhu, Death May Die. Actually, I've not had the urge to play that. So.
Also, Pat changed his avatar. It's always been Monk.
I didn't even realize changed it.
I had to read the name to realize that's the same person.
Pat's been getting super into AI lately and making stuff, so that's probably some AI thing. I don't know.
I can't see.
He made us. I didn't show you a picture. He made us. I need to send it to you.
Okay.
It's super funny. So let's get into the games.
Let's get into it. I think we start with you, if I remember the order.
Yes, so we will start here with Three Ring Circus, published by DeVere. This is a game that I want to say it came out maybe last year, maybe 2 years ago. But it was one that kind of like was at the beginning of their small box kind of games. And it was one that honestly the artwork really caught my eye, really caught my interest. So we got to play this one at the convention. And so the game is basically, you have this board. And on the board, it's this kind of area control. There's different sections, and it's different parts of the United States. So you have your traveling circus, and you're trying to gain performances and do these performances to people and gain money and then hire artists and all that kind of stuff. So on your turn, you literally have two things that you can do. You can either perform a show or hire an artist. So you have your own player board, and it's a card kind of driven game. So with these cards, they've got numbers on them, and then they've also got like some type of scoring, endgame scoring mechanic, or what is that? Endgame scoring
condition.
Condition, that's the word. So you'll play it. And then it says, like, if you have triangles to the left of this, you score this many victory points. Or if you have this to the right, you score that many victory points. So you're playing those on your player board. And then on the main board, it kind of builds this area control kind of section to where you have, I think it's the Ringling Brothers, or maybe it's Barnum and Bailey. It's one of those big ones. And they're traveling around. So anytime they get to a section, you will score it, and whoever has the most performances in that area gains victory points. The game honestly was a bit of a letdown for me. I don't know if it was just after playing the game that I'd played previously, my brain wasn't ready for it. Maybe it was the fact that when we learned the game, the guy was reading it from the rule book, and I didn't really understand exactly what he was saying. There was a lot of times I had to reference the rule book. The first two area control parts of the game, I was on the complete opposite end of the map. I didn't realize that that's how it was going to be working. So I think by the time I finally got the grasp of the game, it was too late, and I was so far out of it. You came in about halfway through the game.
Yeah, 3/4 of the way through.
And you could just tell there was
of the way through.
No coming back from where I was at. And that kind of hindered my experience a little bit also. So I think the game is one that I definitely want to try again now that I actually understand it. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yep. I honestly am so glad I watched the last, we'll call it quarter, third half of the game, because that's all I ever need to experience of it. I didn't think it seemed all that great based off of that. I think it seemed like it wanted to like build this really cool tableau that interacted, but it ultimately was like nobody had one that like really got off or any of that kind of stuff. I also think personally, from my side of things, one of the weirdest mechanics was the one where, and I'm going to get it all wrong, but there were certain places you performed where it wanted numbers and colors. And that seemed really weird because it's like this section of the map here might need a green 8. But over here you need a green 13 or whatever, right? And so it's like I can build my tableau to have that green 8 and I get paid off and rewarded. But then later on it's like...
You don't have the 13.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I don't know. To me it was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a very strange mechanic, and that's performing in the big cities when you have to do that. And you don't need it, but you get more victory points if you have those numbers. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird kind of game that I just don't think I fully grasped until too late. So, yeah, 3 Ring Circus.
Yep. Next up, we played Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein.
Yeah, this game was awesome.
Yeah, it was. This was the game of the con.
Yeah, for sure. For me. For me, this was game of the con.
I played another game I really enjoyed, but this is probably the one I had the most fun playing.
So, Abomination, Heir of Frankenstein, thematically, probably the most gruesome theme that you will ever think of.
Yeah,
like very
dark,
very
horror.
Dark. But so what you are the heir of Frankenstein, and you are traveling around the city trying to gain body parts. And you can go to hospitals, morgues, the cemetery. You can go to the back alley and just off somebody.
Yeah, it's blood, organs, bones, and not skin. Maybe it's
muscle. It's muscle, yeah. And so if you go to the hospital, like, the organs and stuff like that might be a little bit fresher than if you go to the cemetery. Yeah, thanks, Patrick. But like if you go to the cemetery, it's bones. Like that's what you're getting at the cemetery.
Yeah, it's like more bones.
And just decomposed muscle or whatever. But then the funniest spot is you have like a veterinarian that you can go to, and you just get wild animal body parts, and it's your wild parts. So the theme in it is just, it's so gruesome, but it's awesome. It fits perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this game was super funny. I enjoyed it.
It's a worker placement style game, and a really cool mechanic of your body parts aging and getting worse, right? They're I forget the word. I forget tons of words. But just, getting worse and worse. And you can throw them in a freezer, or like you can get some ice and freeze the decaying process. And then towards the end of the game, you want to zap these body parts alive by rolling some dice. I don't know, just everything about it. I think it took us like 3 hours to play this game, but it did not feel like a 3-hour game.
No, it was fun.
It was great.
We had said it was what we really probably wanted out of
my father's work.
My father's work.
Yep.
If my father's work like really nailed the theme like this did, and had the short story sections that this did, because the story was like on a card, right? Occasionally, occasionally went into a book, but it was like one or two sentences. But
it's a paragraph. It's like the above and below type.
Yeah, super short. I think my father's work is better like gameplay, but I don't know, if somehow those games merged, it would have been...
I think it would be the perfect game.
Yeah, I agree. But this one was fun.
Because you're right, my father's work is like 3 hours also.
Yeah.
But
it
longer.
gets bogged down by the story, right? But it has really cool game mechanics, I personally think, of the way stuff carries from era to era,
Devin didn't have to read.
Yeah, that's... Above and below, Abomination. Let's get short sentences. C spot run. That is where I have it down. you know. But yeah, that was Abomination. Super. I say funny. Probably wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah, it's not
but
funny.
we were laughing the whole time. Like it was funny going to the back alley.
This is the one that we wanted to win in the play to win.
Yeah.
Because we honestly also thought like, who's gonna check out this game?
Yeah.
But we actually had quite a few people come up to us and be like, "This game is great.
Yeah.
You need to try the Igor variant or
Yeah,
whatever."
which I actually read about after the fact. So it's an official variant. The reason this game really got buried was the length, right?
Okay.
And I could see it. It did go on long. Didn't really bother me, but I could definitely see it, especially at higher player counts. They basically do the we'll call it the Terraforming Mars Prelude treatment.
Okay.
You cut 2 rounds out of it, but you get a bunch of resources to begin with, and that's
get to going.
Other than that, they have the same game, and that's what the Igor variant is. They have a way of getting special stuff, but anyway, it's that was.
It was a great game. It was fun.
Above.
This was
below.
me.
This was you.
This was me. So above and below. Kirsten and I, we ended up having a kid-free night, one kid-free day, honestly, and we ended up going to D20. I've talked about it before. It's our local board game bar, and she's been wanting to play. She loves this game. This is one of her favorite games. We had just recently played it, I think a couple weeks before, or something like that. And so she had wanted to play it, and I said, fine, it's fresh on my mind. I'll be able to. Yeah, fine, whatever. Talk me into playing one of my favorite games too. But it gave me some kind of reminder to go with her in that game. So we got it out, got it all set up, played the first round, and I absolutely crushed her. I just destroyed her. And it was because of our previous playthrough. I learned, you have to build up, like, you have to get the resources
engine,
at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's an engine builder.
Yeah.
You have to build
economy.
your engine. Yeah. Absolutely crushed her. Immediately, we scored it up. And she said, re-rack it. I was like, really? She's like, we're going again.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. So we played it back to back. The second one, she ended up beating me by like 2 points. And I remember I sent you a picture in the middle of it, and you guys were like, you guys are 4 rounds in, and you only have one economy in?
I remember you sending that picture. I'm like, what the heck are y'all doing? Both of y'all.
At the end, we ended up having a pretty good little thing going there, and it was like 1 or 2 points separated us. And it was a great game. It was tons of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, she likes the kind of games that I do. I think she likes she's really good at planning out that kind of stuff. So she does like the heavier games, but this is one that for both of us is just great. So yeah, it was above and below.
Next up, we played Age of Comics. So
not only did we go to a con.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We also met up with our good friend Joe from Board Games for Two in our local little kind of halfway meetup place. Which
is a whole nother story with that.
Yeah, that is true. It's for the end. But anyway, we played Age of Comics. This was the first time Paul and I got to play it at 3 players.
So I've played it solo.
Yeah,
We've done
I
2.
played the 2. 3 did not change the game in any meaningful way whatsoever.
It changed the sales a little bit.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. I thought it did change it relatively meaningful in that in a 2-player game you pretty much know, like, I'm going to take these 3 comics and I can take these.
Yeah.
And in a 3-player game that was never a guaranteed type of thing. Like you found, you would have to top deck quite a bit. But yeah, it was fine.
I also like top decking.
Paul likes chasing the 1 in 6 chance of I need a green. So, I don't know. I think this kind of solidified for both of us. It's just an average game. Nothing to write home about. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty thematically strong. Like all the things make sense. You're hiring your creatives. You're developing ideas. You're publishing. If you publish more, you start upgrading your publishings by having them be in color. So like all that stuff makes sense. I don't know. I still just can't shake that it feels like it wants to be more than what it is. we've had a couple conversations about it. I can't explain it too much. I'm not 100% sure how to vocalize it. But I would just, for an intro worker placement game, there's other ones that I would rather play, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's if it's ever out there, if it's ever set up, because setup, I don't want to do setup anymore. It's too much. But if it's set up, somebody wants to play it, I'd more than happy to just jump in and play it. It'll play in about 90 minutes, and it's a worker placement game.
Yeah, so that was Age of Comics. We played Airships.
We were just trying to win games at this point.
Yeah, and we played this and realized this isn't even worth us turning into
to win. Yeah, we didn't even register it.
Yeah, I don't even know. This game was kind of building up your little dice pool to try and. Were you fighting? Were we fighting ships? What were we trying to do?
No, so actually, I don't know what we were trying to do.
I think
we were just building up airships,
I guess,
right?
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
So the dice were, because I guess the dice were like mechanics.
Like you had your,
stuff.
so the different tiles.
We were trying to build better and better airships is what we were trying to do. And so you had dice that you would roll for the chance of getting a card or whatnot. The problem with the game really was we had this moment where it literally stalled out the game, like just stalled out.
Yep. Nobody was making progress on anything, and nobody wanted to buy anything else because we had the dice we needed.
Yeah, we had like our tableaus and the dice we needed were what we wanted, but we had this like really hard objective to roll for. And then once somebody got it, the game literally was like domino effect over, and it was like, oh, then beat this, beat this, beat this, beat this, beat this. And so it was like super anticlimactic. It was like we had this, I don't know.
You had this build up and then just a very long plateau.
Yeah, and it wasn't like meant to be at the end of the game. Like it was like the second of 4 cards, right?
Yeah, it was much harder than the third and the fourth challenge.
Yeah, and so, I don't know, it made the game real weird. And it was like, oh, well.
It was really interesting. I mean, like, I don't even remember how you were scoring. I think it was like from beating those challenges, and then maybe like a couple of your little tiles had
things
stuff
had
like
points
that,
on
right?
them.
I don't know. It was a
game.
It was whatever. It was a game.
Don't ever play it. It was a game. We played Arcs. You
played Arcs.
Yeah.
I was supposed to play Arcs.
Yeah. So the hottest of the hot games, you know,
Cole Whirly
of this summer, right? And we had talked about this prior to me getting to play it, whatever, a few weeks, month prior, and I knew going in this is a game I would not enjoy, right? Like I knew all about this game. I knew this is not a game I would enjoy, but I got the opportunity to play it at the con, and I was not gonna pass up that opportunity, right? Like I am like 100% this game's going to end up in the top 100 of BGG.
For sure.
So I was like, given the opportunity, I want to...
I want to give it a chance.
No, it's not even a chance. I knew...
I want to experience it.
I want to experience it. I want to play it. I'm okay playing things that like I know I'm not going to like.
I mean, it's the same for Chaos Order, right? For Garfield Games.
Yeah, I thought I was going to like that one was my problem.
Oh.
Big difference.
Okay.
So anyway, Arcs is like the perfect, we'll call it mesh of Euro and Ameritrash, right? Like it's seamless. So I'll talk about the things that I thought were great about this game, because I think there were some fantastic things about this game. The action selection system in this game is so unique and so amazing, right? Like everybody compares it to a trick-taking game. It's not really trick-taking, but you lead with a suit, and basically it has a lead and a follow mechanic. So a person plays, we'll call it the blue cards, and the blue cards let you, and I can't remember because we played it at the beginning of the month, but the blue cards let you, we'll call it move and do the ambassador thing or whatever, right? And so if you'll play, maybe I play the numbers are 1 through 7. The lower the number, the more pips are on it, which means the more actions you can do. The higher the number, the less pips are on it, but you're winning the trick, right? So like the 7, and I think even the 6 has 1 pip on it, right? But you can potentially win the trick. Michael, I'm sorry that I'm bashing it for a second, but anyway, I'm talking about the cool things, right? And so, so a guy plays, we'll call it the 3 blue. And it's got 3 pips on it, so he gets to do 3 actions. What I get to do is, if I play a blue card, I get to do the full pip value of that exact action.
Okay.
Or maybe I don't play the blue card and I can play any card and I get to do 1 pip value of that action. So I'm like copying the same action. Or, I don't remember what they call it. I'm going to call it an audible, but it's definitely not an audible. But you can like call an audible and you can play a completely different suited card and you get to do 1 pip value of that action of whatever the red suit is. It is, I'm telling you, I think one of the most clever, unique action selection systems I have ever played, and I hope so much that this is implemented into not an aggressive game.
I can see how that can be considered like trick taking. Right?
It is
like
right, and so
it's
whoever,
a follow,
and so whoever
mechanic.
But whoever plays the highest value then gets to lead the next, right? But the thing was, you played a 6 or a 7. You only got to do 1 action, but you then get to play whatever action you want to do. I'm telling you, that part of the game, hands down, super awesome. Second part was scoring. There's 0 basically scoring on the game. There are 5 conditions that could be scoring, and when you lead a trick, instead of playing for the like playing it as the number it is, you can basically play it as a 0, we'll call it, right? So anybody gets to beat it. You won't get to lead the trick, but you get to select a scoring condition that you are scoring for the end of that round. So it was a very cool scoring mechanic, right?
You're giving up one part of the game to make sure that you can
and so every round, you know, you had, or year, whatever they call them, scoring was variable. You wanted it to be in your favor.
Were the scoring conditions changed every round?
No,
or it was the same thing every round?
So it was like, there's resources, right? There's 5 different types of resources. But basically it broke down to, I can't remember exactly, but like it was the most of having these 2 types or the most having these 2 types. That was 2 conditions, right? The most destroyed things. So you fought and destroyed things. The most captured things, or I can't remember what the third one was. Mine has also been a resource.
Is it variable from game to game?
No.
It's the same every single game. Okay.
But I mean, I think if you're into this, like, it's going to be very variable, even game to game. So that is what I enjoy. What I didn't enjoy, it is a highly, 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 highly aggressive game, right? That is what it is. I don't enjoy that, right? I don't enjoy attacking people. I don't enjoy getting attacked.
And you sat right next to the...
And so everybody I played with, right, they knew what they were playing. They'd all also played before, so I'm the only one that hadn't played before. And they're just all out attacking each other constantly, you know. I think I did 0 attacks the entire game, right? I came in second, so I'm pretty happy with what I did.
And you said you were like pretty much out of it for...
Yeah, I did not score for the first 2 conditions, but I set myself up that on the... I didn't score for the first 3 conditions, I think, but I set myself up on the 4th condition. I like super scored. So yeah, Michael, you'll probably enjoy this game. If you enjoy that kind of stuff, if you enjoy attacking each other, right, rolling attack dice, that kind of stuff, you'll enjoy it. And there's a reason that this is so good, because it has all these other kind of Euro mechanics in it. I just don't enjoy that. I knew I wouldn't enjoy that. That's the main focus of the game. So I didn't enjoy the playthrough, but I'm very glad I got to experience it and say I played it. I just know I'll never play it again. So yeah, that was ours. Barcelona. I actually played this 2 times. I got to play it at the con and I got to solo it. So I played with a group of guys the first day I was there because Paul wasn't, and I basically played with this group the whole time. So we played several different games, and they were teaching games. And so it got to like, all right, now you got to teach a game, right? And I'm like, well, let me tell you, like, what kind of games you like, because the games I can teach you, not sure you're gonna like, right? We had started with Skull King to put it in perspective of what we had been playing, you know. And so,
let me teach you coffee traders real quick.
yeah. So we got to talking, and one of them, it was kind of down to possibly Ezra and Nehemiah, but at this point it was like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, man, I honestly think by the time we get it set up and stuff.
Hey Ken, good to see you.
By the time we get it set up and stuff and I teach it, I think we're going past midnight when it closes, so I don't want to push that. And I was like, Barcelona plays pretty quick, and it did. Again, anytime you're playing, we'll call it a Euro game, especially one like Barcelona, against people that have never played, no matter how good I was at teaching, and they fully understood, and I told them, I'm giving you all there is, give you advice I can. I beat them by a significant portion.
And Barcelona is one that, even though you are gathering points every round, it's going to be those end game multipliers.
Yeah, knowing what you're going to do for end game.
And knowing what the end game things are already, like that's just an advantage.
So anyway, Michael, I don't know, you said you need to break it out. Have you ever played Barcelona, or are you just wanting to break it out again, or you need to? I think Barcelona is great. We have not pre-ordered the expansion. I assume we will get it at some point.
We're hoping to get it.
It kind of adds a little sideboard of stuff, but yeah, I think it's a great game. I soloed it. Can't really remember the solo too much, but yeah, I think Barcelona is.
I remember. I think you've said that the AI is kind of a dummy.
Oh, that's right. So I had
Same with
soloed it. I had soloed it before, long ago. I say within a year because it's not all that old, but roughly a year ago. I had forgotten that until Paul reminded me, like, oh yeah, this AI is a dummy. So I beat the pants off of the AI. So it's not really super fun, but. Yeah, I think it is a good solo. They have like 1,000 ways you can add to make it harder. Just bought a used copy off somebody.
You got a good deal,
Michael. I think it is great. I think Danny Garcia is like.
He's going to be the one to look out for.
Yeah, he is making a name for himself with basically the 3 games he has come out with have all been major hits. So yeah, Barcelona is fantastic.
So he's got Windmill Valley, Barcelona, and what else?
Arborea.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Or Arborea, however you say it.
All right, so we got to play Cartographer's Heroes. We did this one last Friday on our 5th Friday filler frenzy.
Yeah.
Said it. And it was good. I enjoy Cartographers. It's the first time that you have played Heroes. I've played Heroes before. And it was good. I've talked about it before. I really like Cartographers. I think the Heroes is a pretty cool little mechanic that gets to destroy the monsters. We played it on a newer map that I hadn't played before that has the volcano in the middle. And anytime you draw a volcano card, it destroys some spots around it. And then just with Cartographer's Heroes, there's new edicts, new shapes that come out, and all that kind of stuff. So personally, I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think it's a good little variation on the game.
Yeah, I said then I very much enjoy Cartographers as a game, but I did the Heroes mechanic and the monsters that had these abilities that you had to add more, let's call it that, just add more into the game. Was kind of a miss for me, but what I do like from it is this what brought the skills?
No, the skills is just a mini expansion on its own.
We also played with skills. Yeah. I thought skills were fantastic. And I liked overall more different scoring conditions. I played Cartographers enough times that I've seen the scoring conditions are worse, so I liked that there were unique scoring conditions, I liked that there were different shapes, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Just overall, the monsters and the heroes, and honestly, even the volcanoes, all of these were just cards that were 0 to the time, and it just made for rounds that we drew 12 cards. And I didn't really, Cartographers to me isn't a game that needed lengthening.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think we got very unlucky with like the map that we played and the heroes that were in there and not getting any heroes until the end, right? Like they just all came out at once. And yeah, like you said, it was one that just felt like it was like, can we just not get to 6 already?
yeah, like let's just finish this.
Yeah.
Like at this point, my map's done. I'm scoring what I'm going to score.
Yeah.
Let's just finish it
finish it
without.
up.
So yeah.
So I think it's just variable on which maps you choose, which heroes, which monsters, all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, ours just wasn't the best.
But yeah, overall, Cartographers is a great game, and if you can pick up the skills,
Yes,
that
the skills
is
are great.
an amazing expansion.
Cascadia Rolling Rivers. I got this one in at the last day of the month, so it was literally last week that I got to play it. So they recently released Cascadia Rolling Rivers and Cascadia Rolling Hills, and it's basically just a roll and write of Cascadia. You have 4 communal dice and then 2 personal dice, and then there's 4 different maps on the game. So each map has different scoring conditions. I only got to try map A, which is pretty much the easiest one, or the least complex one. And then you have some cards that come out that give you some type of rewards, some types of resources, pine cones, all those kind of things. So on map A, you have the Cascadia tiles, and then on the cards, they have numbers on them. So like this mountain is a number 4. So you roll the dice, and each dice has animals on it, which are the resources. Bears are the most rare, and then salmon are the, I believe it's salmon, are the most common. So you can roll the dice. Your pine cones let you mitigate those dice. They let you trade up or trade down. So like if you have a bear, you can trade down to elks. If you have a salmon, you can trade up to fox or whatever it may be. So that was a really cool mechanic. And then if you complete like certain rows or columns, you get extra bonuses, you get extra resources. So it's just a lot of, I'm gonna get 4 salmon, I'm gonna cross them off to buy this card, to then score this card. It's not as combo-y as I would like a roll and write to be, but it was, again, it was just the first map, the least complex one. I'm sure the other ones probably get a little bit more, but I liked it. I thought it was good. The production value was nice, the wooden dice were nice, and it played within like 30 minutes, so it was good.
Is it like Cascadia where you are scoring at the end? So like not scoring during, but it's all setting up your map for end of game scoring?
So I do believe one of the maps is that way, but the map that I played was just like, this is mountain number 4. You're scoring 4 victory points for this mountain region. You'll score 2 for this hills region or whatever like that. So I think map 4, it has like you need bears to do this and you need whatever to do this, like in these positions. So yeah, there is that, but that's not the one I played.
Got it.
Yeah, it was good.
Castellans.
We live streamed this one.
We live streamed it
with the AI.
Yeah.
And it was good. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than the 2-player one that we had. I don't think it added any more. It didn't add much more time to the game. The AI was very easy to run, but I think that 3rd player is necessary in this game. It's an area control game.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, it was fine. I said it before. I'll say it again. I think it was fine. It was just okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Valeria universe games. If you're into the Valeria universe, if you like that kind of thing, I think it's a great one to have. So, but I definitely recommend if you are going to get it, either have at least 3 people to play it with, or always add in that AI. You can always add in another AI if you wanted to. You can run 2 or 3, whatever. You can run as many as you want, but they're super easy to run, and it honestly does improve the game quite a bit.
Yep.
So that's Castellans.
Circadians.
I guess this was me again. Yes, this was me. I left this one set up at my table for when I live streamed it, once, and then like I played it a couple days later, and I guess that was beginning of August. We've talked about Circadians quite a bit on this channel. It is a dice worker placement game where you're gathering resources, fulfilling contracts, trading in those resources for negotiations, which is just victory points. And I played it the second time because I got very upset that I lost the first time. So I wanted to avenge my loss, which I don't think I did. I think it ended up beating me on it. But it's good. It's a really good game. Still haven't tried the Specialist expansion. I don't know if you have played the Specialist yet.
I have not got a chance to actually bust it out and play it.
Yeah, so that was one that I wanted to... I wanted to kind of learn the game a little bit more or refresh myself a little bit more on it in order to get that Specialist expansion on there. So
yeah,
that's it.
Okay. Clank. For once, Lacey asked me to play a game.
Ooh, look at that.
And that almost always means we're going to play Clank, which I do not mind. Clank is my second most played game ever besides Dice Throne, and I will play this
anytime.
Yeah, anytime. And that's actually not even counting, I didn't ever put in our legacy plays of it.
Oh, so, wow.
That is just Clank. That is just that Clank. We enjoyed it. We played the Sunken, not Temple, but whatever, Sunken, I don't know, the box next to you, Sunken Treasure or something like that. Expansion.
Sunken Treasures, yeah.
We have all the expansions except for the Mummy one, all the like micro expansions.
Is Catacombs an expansion?
Catacombs is its own thing.
Okay.
So Catacombs is the game is modular. So when you it's all tiles. So you start on a tile, and then when you explore out, you draw from a tile stack type of thing. And so you make the map as you go. Honestly, it does interest me, but for how often we truly play it, I think that we don't need
a modular.
Yeah, we
that
don't
much
need
variety.
Another. I had played Clank in Space before. It did not add enough that I cared about. So we never, and so we just went all in on regular old Clank. But Catacombs, it is neat the way that it kind of, like I believe when a relic comes out, you just, like a relic tile comes out, you just put the lowest one in the stack. So you have to, that forces you to keep exploring more.
That's cool.
That way.
Doesn't let you go for the 30.1 and rush out kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. This play of it, I think I won. Maybe Lacey won. Who won? Oh, Lacey edged me out on this. So mad. So I get a relic, and then like I kind of start working my way up, and I start making a beeline toward the end while she is still down on the bottom, right? And then she just had so much, and I was like, you're for sure not getting out. I'm getting the 20 points, you know. You're not getting out. I honestly didn't think she'd get across the line, right? And then she had several turns where she had tons of movement, didn't have to stop at the little caverns, and flew to the top and basically got out the turn after I got out. And she won within 20, and that's how much the point token is. And I'm like, if you not gotten out,
you would have done so much better.
I took a lot of Clank, so I had to be out relatively quick. Like I took high point value, a lot of Clank stuff, knowing I cannot personally stay long because I was out of Clank cubes. Everything of mine was in the bag. But yeah, I will always enjoy Clank.
This is one that I haven't played in a long time. I think since our legacy campaign. So maybe we should live stream this one.
We should, because
you will destroy, but that's okay.
I always love Clank. I think it's just a great deck builder. I don't know. I really enjoy it. Next up, we played Cupcake Empire.
I forgot who. I think it was Dennis that asked about Cupcake Empire.
Yeah, so Dennis, we actually got to play some Cupcake Empire. So this was one of our family game nights.
from the haul. If you haven't watched our haul video, that's where this one comes from.
Yeah, and so we talked about how it had these little like silk screen meeples in the haul video, right? And the mechanic it uses for them is so awesome because that is the orders that you are fulfilling. So you match up the pants being either vanilla or chocolate, light brown, dark brown, or khaki and dark brown, and then the shirt color, one of 4 shirt colors. So it was mint, blueberry, lemon, and strawberry. So if their shirt was red and light brown, that's what they wanted, and you were making cupcakes, and it was actually kind of neat in that you weren't making like I'm making this cupcake and then I am selling it. It's once you know that recipe, you can fulfill those orders, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
like you weren't making individual cupcakes to sell. It was I
You're
am
learning
making
the recipe.
Yep, I am learning a strawberry with vanilla.
Like
and
in
so,
distilled, once you unlock those recipes, you can start making those once you have the ingredients and stuff.
well, you're never making cupcakes.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Okay.
once you have that strawberry and vanilla cake, now I can fulfill those orders.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
And so I thought that was really cool. The way they did the swirls was really cool. Honestly, Lacey really loved it. It was not super complicated. It was your least scores type of thing.
Oh, okay.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it had very much a suburbia vibe of how you increased either it was like increased sales or increased production, right? And so
okay.
obviously the least scored because you can't have more sales than production or more production than sales. So anyway, it was a neat game.
That sounds nice.
It was much better than
You had
I
anticipated.
expected it when looking at it from the haul.
Dice Miner, another game that we got in the haul, another game that we did for our Fifth Friday Frenzy there. This is one that I had played in the past. It's basically just a dice drafting game. And every dice has different scoring conditions. So you've got your white dice that are basically runs, right?
Yeah.
Sets, or 1 to whatever. You have your gems that are just 1 to 1. You have other ones where there should be negative victory points, but if you have this, they turn into positive. And then you have, your dice mitigation kind of magic. And then each player gets a asymmetrical player ability or starting kind of dice, right? So it kind of leads you in their way. It's a very simple, basic game that I think, plays 30 minutes. At 2 players, you have all the dice there. You just get more turns. At more players than that, it's just less turns. It doesn't really change anything. It doesn't really add much more to the game or take away from the game. But it's just a very basic get points from wherever you can kind of game.
Yeah, it was a perfect thing for a filler, right? And just a simple 30-minute game.
Yeah, a little bit of push your luck in there, not too much, but just with the roll on the dice. And I know you didn't have the best experience with it, just from the rules kind of wasn't
understand
clear.
the rules.
Yeah, it wasn't clear with the rule.
Yeah.
But I think it does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, I think so too. It is just a simple filler game. That is precisely it. I am curious if I would ever want to play this at more than 2, solely because it doesn't add any more dice. So right, you just do less.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Every single player you add, you personally just do less. And to me, I think I would never want to do that.
Just do less.
This would always be a kind of quick 2-player game to me. So
Dennis, you said your wife wants to try Cupcake Empire. Is that what it is? Hopefully you can find a copy. I don't know if it's a rare game or anything. But
no idea. I assume it's probably a Kickstarter that's sold, 500 to 1,000 copies.
We got some dice thrown again. We played it on Friday.
It's Santa and Barbarian.
Santa and Winter Santa or Summer Santa.
No. It was Barbarian and
Winter Barbarian.
No.
It was the Barbarians is
Christmas.
what it was.
What did somebody call it? They had such a clever name.
I don't remember. But I think this is the first time we've actually ever tied.
I think it's our second. But
Second time? Yeah. So it was fun. It was good. I think, did I hit an ultimate? Did you hit an ultimate? Somebody hit an ultimate.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And it was just good. It was those two characters. What we wanted from the game.
We wanted it to be a quick game.
We wanted
because
it
we
to
were
be a quick
gonna
game.
try and breeze through several games. So
Yeah.
it was exactly that.
Yeah, it was exactly that. I know Barbarian does have a lot of healing abilities, but the way that we were playing it is just go for broke.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a regular old dice zone. Gingopolis,
Gingopolis.
I think.
Yes.
This was a interesting game.
I'm very interested in this game, I'll tell you that.
Really.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it before. Somebody at the con, that group I played Barcelona with, that guy had it. And it's just interesting. The game starts on I think it's a 4x4, maybe it's a 3x3 tile little grid. And all the tiles have numbers on them. And basically you have three actions. You can build the city out, you can build the city up, or you can collect resources. But every time you play a card, that card has something on the header banner that basically improves one of those three actions, right? So maybe it's building out. So I played a card, and then now I get to tuck my thing for playing out. And so now when I play out, I don't just play out, but I play out and I get this one resource, right? And so then I do another one that also adds to playing out. And so now I get a play out and I get a resource and a victory point, right? Or same thing with up, or the same thing with collecting resources. And it's just kind of a little bit of everything. At the end, there's a little bit of area control, but it's not like fighting tooth and nail for it, because there's plenty of areas type of thing. And you could be just collecting victory points as you go type of thing, or you could have, so the building numbers start low. They start like 1 to 5 or whatnot, but they go all the way up to 20, I think, or 16, or whatever it is. Doesn't really matter. The higher the number, the better that card that you're taking's ability. So in the beginning, those 1s and 2s that you're taking are just getting 1 resources. And then the mid-range cards, we'll call it whatever, 5 to 10, they're getting maybe 2 resources or whatnot. And then eventually it'll be like end game victory point condition cards. So like for every one of the yellow buildings that you have, or whatever the case is, or maybe every one that you've spread out, or every one you're the highest up, or whatever the case is, that's an end game. So everybody's end of game scoring is totally different. Some people could collect cards like that and have like multipliers. Some could focus on getting and controlling big areas and doing that. Some could just be getting points with every single thing that they do.
Yeah, I've heard the brothers Murph talk about Gingopolis a lot. I think it's in their top, I want to say 20, if not top 10. And I think the main thing that they've said is just that there is so many different options, and it feels like you're building up on stuff to where at the end you're just doing a little bit of everything, or being able to do a little bit of everything. So yeah, I've heard them say really good things about this game. So
that's interesting. I wouldn't put it in my top 20, maybe top 20,000. Overall, I thought it was just a very basic game. It's very basic. You are doing one of those things. You're just building that, and I don't know. It was very basic, but it wasn't bad by any means. It played at 5, so not many games play at 5.
Yeah.
So
I'll caveat that and say I'm pretty sure this is the game. I'm like 90% sure, but
yeah, I had never heard of it until that moment.
Dennis, you said Cupcake Empire, $30 to $35 on eBay. I can't tell you if that's worth it or not. Maybe Devin can. Seems like a pretty decent price for a game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I bought it in a haul where I got a super discount, so hard for me to really judge that. It's not like super meaty, but I can tell you, for $30 to $35 for a game my wife wants to play, I'm 100% buying. So I'll put it from that perspective. 100% I'm spending $30 for a game that Lacey's like, hey, I would like to play this.
Yeah,
Because
and even if
she
it's
doesn't
just,
ever say that.
if it's just once, right? That's a date night.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that is.
You'll play this one more than once. It's
But
not, it's not bad at all. So actually, right after Ginkopolis, we played Gizmos, played this at 3. This might go down as my favorite quick engine builder.
Nice.
Faster
than It's a Wonderful World?
Yeah, it was just fast, and it just builds this little engine really quick, and then that's it, right? It was. I got completely crushed. Those two guys knew what they were doing.
They knew the game.
I had no idea what I was doing, and so kind of one of those. I did not focus. I did the Paul dip into a little bit of everything.
Just do a little bit of everything.
I built no real good engine, but I think it was good.
You had fun building
have you ever
stuff
played this
out.
game?
No, I haven't. I've heard of it. I've seen it.
It was also one of those simple. You do like one of 4 different actions, right? It's I don't know, get more dice. Like a potion explosion type of scenario in what you're drawing from. Like you either pick from there. Or, unlike Potion Explosion, you can pick a random where you can't see in the, like, if you could pick from the back. So it's like, I could take this white one, or this yellow one, or I could just pick a random one. Or a lot of times it'd be like, if you pick a yellow, pick a random. Like, that's the engine type of thing you build. Anyway, really simple engine builder that I thought was really neat, and I would probably play this again anytime.
Interesting.
It was just simple.
I would have never guessed that from the box art here.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you the theme. I guess you're building some sort of engine. I don't know.
Gizmo.
That's what I'm calling it. Yeah, some sort of gizmo. Hadrian's Wall.
You.
Must have been me. When's the last time you played Hadrian's Wall?
It's been a while.
I feel like you burnt yourself out. You played like too many times real quick, and then
It could be it.
Didn't play anymore. So I have to get this right. I just did Fort 15 a couple days ago. So last month was Fort 14. So I am. With doing 15, I'm one away. But I am now into the hard forts of Hadrian's Wall.
Where you're just drawing more picked attacks, right?
They draw more picked attacks. The one I played, 14, was my second highest score ever.
What'd you get?
There was very little restriction. It was 94.
So high.
So I think my highest was 102. I might have had a 96. I went back and looked, but I think 94 was the second highest from what I remember. Yeah, basically, with any of these extra picked attacks, right? If you make it the first two rounds,
yep, you're golden.
If you make it the first 2 rounds, it really doesn't change much of the game.
You just have to play the game.
If you don't make those first 2 rounds, which I just experienced on the Fort 15 I did, if you don't make it those, you have to build the bass, right? Like that's just so you spend resources where you don't want to spend them.
You just need no disdain. Is that basically what
Fort
it is?
15 you did.
Okay.
So Fort 15 that I just did, you cannot build the large granary, so you can only go 2/3 of the way across the board. You have to score 50 at the end of the game, right? Because you know, like, you're not going to, but you also have to end with no disdain. So it's building, like, first time in that one I'd ever done, I did all the temples and all the diplomats.
I've never done all the temples.
Because you have to...
You have to use your resources for something.
Well, no, it's not that. It's you cannot build all the cohorts.
Yeah.
Because you can only go 2/3 into the granary, so...
So yeah, with those resources, you have to do something else with them.
Well, no, you have... That's your only way of stopping the attacks, to get no disdain at the end of the game.
Oh,
right?
That's right.
Like, if you build evenly, at most you
because
can do 4 covered of each, and you're drawing an extra.
Right.
So by the end of the game, you're drawing 11 cards, and you have 4 each, right? So if even one is skewed, so like it made it a different way to play. Now, the one I did on Fort 14, I got to play the game I wanted to play because I cleared the first 2 picked attacks, and so I had done all my cohorts, and it was just a steamroll game. Lots of fun.
Interesting.
But yeah, so that was Hadrian's Wall. Horseless Carriage. This is a splotter game that I had never heard of before.
I think this
So-
might be their newest one. Newer
Possibly.
one.
This was at the con on a day that Paul wasn't there, and there was a guy setting it up, and piqued my interest because it was a ton of components, and he needed a player, so I sat down and played. This game alone made me be like, I want to play more Splotter games. I thought it was great. You're building a factory. It's a factory building game, like I've never played before. And I don't know that there is any other factory building game. So you have a completely blank factory that's like grid shaped, and you're placing tiles on that, and you have no limits to what you can do. Like zero limits
Talk about a
whatsoever.
sandbox.
Ever. And every round you get to expand your factory with another tile. And so like spatially visualizing how to build out these components of cars. That's what you're making, a horseless carriage, a car. So it's in like, I guess theme, I don't know. It's the new era of like somebody was Ford and somebody was whatever. I don't know what I was. Different car manufacturers. But so it was, I don't even know how to explain the game. I thought this game was so neat. I've also really, Michael, quick derail, really wanted to play Roads and Boats. I watch a lot of Heavy Cardboard, and they praise that game over and over. And I do want to play that game. But anyway, this one was it was great. And honestly, I can tell you what I liked the most about it, that I actually probably liked way more than Food Chain, was this game is like Food Chain in that you can screw up and you're going to lose the game, right? But unlike Food Chain, you're not going to get blown out of the water 60 to 600, right? This one, your score is going to be 130 and the winner is going to be 150, right? So it doesn't feel bad that you screwed up, right? Because unlike Food Chain, where you screw up and now you can't even sell, which is the primary, and that feels really bad, you sit there. This one, everybody's going to get a sell. The difference is you screwed up, so your cars are worth 4, my cars are worth 6, right? And so it's these small margin differences that I was like, I would much rather do this, because I've been on the losing side of Food Chain, where you do get blown out for your screw up, and it's like, okay, well, now I can't come back. This, you still get to participate in the game. You still get to build up your factory, which is the main focus of the game. You still get to sell cars out there. You're just slightly less valuable, and you're going to lose by smaller margins that way. So it feels much better. You had a question?
Oh, I was going to say, it's an offshoot. You can finish here. I was going to talk about Food Chain. But you finish up here.
Yeah, and so I thought this game was really cool. I talked to Joe about this a lot. Joe was actually very interested in it after he saw I played it. He said he watched like 2 playthroughs or whatnot. He thought it was pretty cool. It was neat. The way, I can't do the game justice, but the way you build the factories and you have to meet these like criteria levels, and it is like, I always thought, A Feast for Odin was a tile placement game on steroids, and this was like A Feast for Odin on steroids, right? Because it's just, you get to build it however you want to build it, but the thing is, you can't ever move it. So turn 1, you do all these things. Turn 6, you realize, I probably shouldn't have actually played that there on turn 1, right? And that's the way it's going to be. And I don't know. I thought this game was great. Honestly, I think the best part of it, almost 100% simultaneous, 95% simultaneous. So the game took almost 5 hours, but it's kind of like the circadians, blown out even more. Everybody is building their thing all at once, taking 20 minutes to tweak their board, and then it's like, okay, we're all done at the same time. We do kind of the selling, update stuff, get our new things, bam, back down to it. So
I was going to say, with this, if you want to, let's put this on the for BGG, right? We can try that. I'd be up for it. I'm up for trying that. But going to Food Chain, would you be interested in adding the ketchup mechanic?
I don't actually know what it does.
So
I mean,
I'm assuming,
besides help you catch up.
and I'm assuming it's gonna help you catch up, which won't make you feel as bad because you and I have both been blown out bad, and it feels bad.
Yeah,
Would that be something
mean,
you'd be interested in adding?
I don't. I've never disliked food chain. I mean, I've lost plenty of it by a wide margin. I would. I just, to me, it's never felt like it's needed more in the game.
Okay.
I would have to see what it does. I don't
Yeah.
even know what the catch-up mechanic does. But that's really my thought is I've never thought food chain needed more.
Like you go into it knowing you're either going to win or get blown out, or I mean, you might get real close to second, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
No, it just kind of popped in my head there, but
But anyway, Horse Carriage. It was a sleeper fun game for me. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It was. I played this. I went to the con after church. I played this for 5 hours, and then I was done. It was a 1 game day, and I'm okay with that. Like if I can play one solid game, that's good for me. So,
Michael, do you like the art in the new Food Chain Magnate?
I actually haven't looked into it.
I think it looks
worse.
worse.
It can't be worse. I'm gonna have to look after this.
It's like realistic. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. I've grown to like the art in Food Chain.
Yeah. I'll touch on this one because I play it dang near every month. This has become my Sonic game. It's great.
Your Sonic
game. Absolutely love it. So Imperial Settlers. I don't love it. It's not a great game. I've said that from the beginning. It has 48.
I think this is the only not great game that you play regularly.
It's so easy to play like in the sauna or something like that, right? It's got wooden dice that aren't gonna get messy. It's the thing is it's so simple, right? Like honestly, I don't mean this in a bad way. You might very much enjoy this game. To me, it's just simple, right? Like you played the super box, right? It's no different than that, right?
Yeah.
You're just rolling and that's your outcome and that's it. And so that's not typically what I am looking for. But what I do enjoy is that literally they've got 48 sheets in there that are all different and make you approach the game differently every single time. And that's what I like.
Yeah. Play it once a week for almost a year.
Yeah, it's great.
Completely different. Yeah, no, I mean, going back to that, I know it's not a bad thing. You're not meaning it in a bad way, but a lot of times that's exactly what I want after a long day of work is just a dummy, simple game that makes me not think too hard, but I still get to do.
Yeah,
something.
you would probably enjoy
Yeah.
this whole campaign of things. The base game, not great because it is the same thing.
Yeah.
Like game to game, you're gonna play it twice back. I've experienced everything there is ever to that game. But yeah, the campaign, it's good. Lanterns, another family game night. This was a little tile placement game where I don't know. That was it. That's it. It was nothing spectacular. It had this very neat. We'll call it directional mechanics. So you played these lanterns. I guess that's what they were. I was going to say fireworks because Luna called them fireworks the entire time.
They're for sure lanterns.
But they are lanterns.
Like from Rapunzel.
And so whatever direction is facing you is the resource you collect. So they're colors. There are all those colors there. So when I place one, this way's pointing to me, this way's pointing to you. So I get red, you get green type of thing.
Okay.
And then the person that placed it, if they match connection, gets an extra resource type thing. But so that was the big draw of it. It was fine. It was fine.
I know you had said on your first impressions.
I think Cacao
is much better.
We
or
played
just better.
this and Cacao within, we'll call it a week of each other. And since they're both tile placement games, we both kind of took away that they both played in 20 or so minutes, so it was very quick, but we both took away that Cacao would be the one we would kind of always go toward. There was just a bit more for us. So
Yeah.
that was Lanterns. Last Bastion. This one got in the hall. This is like the spiritual successor to Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories is a game that interested me very, very early into the hobby. Back when I was kind of exploring all the games, and I thought, oh, this cool co-op game would be really neat. Anyway, I always want to try it because everything I know about Ghost Stories is basically like it set the benchmark for co-op games and like challenging games, right? Like that was what it was known for. It came out and did that at a time no other game was. This is just kind of an updated version. I have no idea what the theme is. I know Ghost Stories, the theme is ghost. This one, I don't have any
This
idea.
just looks like some type of castle or like people invading your castle.
Yeah, I think that's like a giant demon or something. I don't really know, though. It's a big red thing. I don't know. Anyway, point really is it was neat. I'm very glad I experienced it. Truthfully, I think the comparison I can make for you to connect it is like a Final Girl, right? Like,
Oh, okay.
that's very, very same vein of this exact thing, right? You do these actions and you're fighting against the game, and the game is going to become increasingly more difficult, but you're also, as you get closer to victory, right? And so it's going to come down to...
Is it card-driven, dice-driven? Like, what do you...
You have 9 spaces. It's a 3x3 grid of spaces, and those are they're always the same spaces, but they're randomized inside your castle. And then you have 4 walls, and you go to an action. That action lets you do something, right? That action lets you put out a trap that when a monster steps on it, it dies, right? The cards go along the side, and that's the monsters, right? And that's it. So it's, you move, and so the grid very much matters because you can only move 1 or 2 spaces, and then you do whatever action that is, or you fight the monster adjacent to you type of thing. And so you're just doing those 9 actions that are on the board.
Is it similar to like a Nightfall? Red Raven games? The one where you have the... You remember you're in the Abbey, and you have the demons in there, and the demons are coming around. And so, like, if you go into this action space, you gain a health, you lose a health, whatever. But that one was more card-driven.
Yeah.
You had the actions on your cards that you would then play and kind of just try to defeat the demons.
The monsters or whatever's invading you doesn't ever actually get on the board.
Okay.
They are only on the
outer walls.
The outer walls of the board.
Okay.
I don't know. It was fine. Anyway, what I was gonna say is, everybody says this is like kind of the definitive edition, right? The downside is the solo and the 2-player kind of got trashed because of it, and so people were like, just play 4-handed, and so that's what I did, and it makes sense, right? Like, the difference between playing 1-handed and 4-handed is 1-handed, I'm only playing one side of the wall, and trying to like defend, and 4-handed is just like, okay, I play all the sides, but it's like very easy. It's no more to manage, right? It's literally doing the same thing. Like, you don't have cards, but anyway. Ken, I think you would probably very much enjoy it. I honestly would bet, I haven't played Final Girl, but I'm guaranteeing Final Girl took a ton of inspiration from Ghost Stories. A lot of those kind of hard co-ops did. But just, anyway, so when you do an action, when you try and fight a monster, then it's rolling the dice and hoping to match the symbol to kill it or whatnot. Yeah. Right. And that's all that's
Final Girl.
So very much, I think this is a game you would really enjoy, Ken. I'll play this again. It was just, it's not one I would like fall in love with like a Final Girl.
Yeah, it's funny you had texted me like right after you played it or something.
I played this and I was like, oh, Paul would really like this game. And then I go back and watch the haul because I don't remember him saying it during the haul. But during the haul, he's like, this game doesn't interest me. And it's funny because it's very much a Paul and I type of thing, right? Like, Paul looks at this box and he's like, that doesn't interest me one bit, right? I can look at any of these boxes and like, I don't think one bit about the game, right? Like, I I have to see the game. Like I judge the game by the game. Paul, it's like, what does this look like? You know? Oh, this doesn't look good.
Yeah,
I'm
to
not
me,
gonna
this
play
just
it.
looks like a
Right?
tower defense
Yeah.
kind
So,
of
it's,
fantasy
yeah,
game.
all it
that-
takes is kind of the box for Paul to be like, yeah, no, absolutely not. So anyway, it was just a funny thing. Lockup, solo lockup. I think the AI beat me on this one. I'm pretty positive the AI beat me
I
on
don't
this
remember.
one. I very much like lockup. I think Michael was there in chat, and he had said he liked lockup. I think Ian might have been there too. It's a game that a lot of people don't know about, but I think is just a very good game. I really like the way this AI runs in that it has presence everywhere, so you can't just like automatically win anything. And the mechanic of when it's their turn, you get to reveal certain things. So you can see what you care about. I care about the gym area. So I reveal that, and then I see it's a 5, and I think, oh, well, even though I wanted it, I don't have to
Giving
waste.
up on it.
Yeah, I don't have to waste putting people there because you do not have enough people to have presence everywhere. So there's stuff you have to kind of give up. And where is it? He only has a 2 strength that I can take very easily. And then the way it adds cards. I just really like it. I think the AI is relatively smart in the things it did. Okay, yeah, Michael, I thought you had said you had played it, but I think it might have been Ian that had. But yeah, I just like the way the AI is, and this one beat me. So
You recently got the expansion for this one
I did,
as well, right?
and I haven't got to play it yet, but it's the breakout expansion, and it adds a little area on the bottom of the board that is like you're digging your way.
breakout.
Yeah, you're digging your way out of prison. So I do want to try it. I've read the rules like twice and haven't got to implement it yet. So
Yeah, we'll give that one a try because I do enjoy lockup.
yeah, I think it's really good.
Hey, you got tons of games this month.
Machi Koro. This is another. Obviously, if it's a game like Machi Koro, it's a family.
Easy.
It's a family game night, and this one was great. This is like,
Space.
well, I was gonna say arguably one of the perfect family game night games because Luna gets dice.
Rolling dice.
Yeah, Luna gets to roll dice, right? And so she would just roll the dice for us, you know, and she loved doing that. I think I ran away with this game, but that doesn't say much because it is Machi Koro. But I think this one's a great one. Lacey and I are both non-aggressive people, so we don't ever get the red cards. We just build our own little engines. I think I did one that was primarily forest, which like is like a heavy upfront cost, but pays off in the long game, and it did. And I ran away, but not much to say about Machi Koro. Marvel, so something special here. I wanted to really talk about all 3 of these games together, even though they are very different and unique games. But really, I want to talk about them together because I got 2 of these in the haul. I got Marvel United and Marvel Legendary. Now, I already own Legendary, so it was a duplicate copy, but I haven't played Legendary in, we'll call it 7 or 8 years, roughly. You know, it's been a very long time. And Marvel United, I remember when it first came out, and I thought, yeah, it was
Solo
mode. Solo mode for all these. But I thought it was a very good, I thought it was a very neat game. But I had Marvel Champions at the time, and I think Marvel United probably came out, I'm going to say 5 years ago. And so I didn't really need it. And honestly, had I not gotten it in the haul, I would have never gotten it. But what I actually did was I just played the intros of all these, sort of. I played the intro of Marvel United, which happened to be Red Skull. And the intro to Legendary is also Red Skull. And then I have Red Skull in Marvel Champions. So I did all that. And then I basically used close to the same characters. I used Black Widow and Hulk, and then Ant-Man for Marvel United. I had Black Widow and Hulk, but there was like, I could have used Captain America or something like that. Anyway, so I used then Gambit with Legendary, and then Marvel Champions, I just used Black Widow.
Gambit's in Legendary?
Oh yeah, he's in the base box of Legendary.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so the base box was like, they went all out hard hitters. It was Deadpool, Hulk, Nick Fury, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Wolverine, Rogue, Gambit, Storm. I'm forgetting some. I can't quite remember. There's 15, but anyway, yeah, it was heavy hitting. This was back when they didn't realize they could milk IPs.
Yeah.
Actually, I say that. Legendary has milked that IP for all it's worth, and they continue to. But anyway, my point is, I am so glad I got these games in the haul because, one, it's been making me play. I played now Legendary quite a bit of times, and actually I've played Marvel United several times since then. Marvel United is like, I can literally have that, actually both those two games, Legendary and United, I can have that set up, played, put away under 30 minutes. Like for both of those.
Pretty good.
And I think Legendary, I forgot how good that is. I also think I was very naive. I said it in the haul video that I didn't like the semi-co-op. I think I was just naive in my board gaming. I think this would actually be a great multiplayer game. I didn't realize that it's just not as much a semi-co-op. Like the game technically can beat you, but it's really about like who is actually doing the deck building and beating up the stuff and getting the points, and that's really the heart of the game. So anyway, I'm really glad I got it because now it's been making me play all three of these games quite a bit more, and I can't wait to explore them more. Now I don't think I need any more Marvel United. It is pretty kiddie simple. There's not a ton to it, and I just don't think I need more characters. But I have plenty for Legendary and Marvel Champions, so I'm going to keep playing them.
Are they still making characters for Legendary?
They are, and they actually, so man, I would bet Legendary is roughly 10 years old, if not slightly more. They just announced for the first time they are redoing this box. So
wow.
They are adding, they're taking out Deadpool. They basically lost the rights to it and replacing it with something else. But other than that, they're keeping it the same with the exception that over the years they've had rule tweaks, and so it'll be the most recent updated rules, the most recent updated solo, because they kind of made the solo a bit harder. And actually, the first expansion, Dark City, it beefs up the solo quite a bit. But Legendary, it's got so much content. I think it has 4 different core boxes, and you have to have a core box to play. Dark City is like a box that's like this big, and it has like 6 of those, and then there's a bunch of just mini boxes, and I can't even count how many of those things there are. And then of course they have like the Legendary encounters that has like Predator and Alien, and that kind of stuff. The stuff that's not Marvel.
Out of those 3, what I know you've gone all in Marvel Champions. Which one would you pick off the shelf and just rather play?
I still like Marvel Champions the most, but it is the longest of those, right? Like, there's more to it, right? That I cannot play that one in 1 hour, unless I did True Solo, but True Solo is very swingy. But man, I've been really enjoying Legendary. It's actually, I'm not gonna go
all out,
spend $500 buying a whole bunch of stuff I don't need. I still have, I've just been playing the base. I still have, I have 4 expansions that I haven't started replaying. But yeah, I don't know. They're just all good. So I'm just very glad I got these in the haul to make.
And you gave them another shot.
Yeah, to make me kind of reignite for really all these games. Marvel Champions, I had fallen off playing, and so it's been making me play that some more. Yeah. Also, I got completely crushed. I picked Red Skull he's the end of a box, so you're supposed to not supposed to, but you would have had like upgrades. So I didn't have those. And then on top of that, there's basically damage and there's scheming. He's like heavy into scheming. I brought Hulk, who cannot deal with scheming. Yeah. Hulk is
Hulk
aggressive.
Smash.
Yeah. Black Widow can, but might need a little help, and Hulk didn't give that, and I just got decimated. Played twice in a row, got decimated completely. That's the Marvel games.
Millennium Blades. This one we got to try at our Ardmore Day with Joe, and we had talked about this one, I think, at BGG Spring. We were setting up, I think, Food Chain, and some lady was walking around with this box, and you and Joe had both said, like, oh, if we weren't setting up Food Chain, we would go play that one.
Yeah.
Let's do it at one of our Ardmore days. So Millennium Blades is basically, the theme is you are collectors of trading card games.
It's a trading card game. It is a trading card game.
Game.
Board game.
Yes, it is a trading card game.
The theme is you are a trading card game player.
Yes. So I am not I collected Pokemon cards. I didn't really like play them. Right? I just collected them. Devin and Joe were both huge into Magic and just, going to the tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So this game, really for me, it was kind of like my first experience of what that kind of world is. But basically, it is a deck builder, right? Where you're
Yeah, in a way. I mean, not even. You're collecting
it's a trading
the
card
cards.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trading card game. So if you know anything about that, like that's what you're doing. You're getting a bunch of cards. Basically, you're opening up your packs. You're seeing what you have in there. You're keeping some of the cards to put into your deck to play, to take to the tournaments. You might be putting some in a collection to show off, because one of the things that I guess the people do there is show off all the stuff. I don't know. It was really cool. It was a really good theme. And from what I don't know about the theme, Devin and Joe said this is exactly how these people are. And I thought it did it really well. It was pretty good. It was fun.
Yeah, it's just a crazy chaos time. I absolutely.
It does have like a real time kind of mechanic.
I absolutely love this game. It's silly. You don't take it seriously. This is a game that I will always have fun playing and never care about winning. Like I want to be silly and make these silly decks and sell cards and do all this real time stuff and fight a timer and
yeah. You've got 7 minutes to make your first pass at your cards, and then you get more cards and you get more time, and then you can sell them. It's like, oh, that's a sweet card. What are you selling over there? Let me buy that from you. It was a ton of fun. It was really good.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought that we did really good, or one thing that you and Joe had talked about, kind of when y'all had walked away, was let's make new decks every time, right? Like let's not keep the same one, because I could definitely see that. I think your first deck that you made was very good.
Yeah, it scored the most I did the entire time.
It was very good, and you could have just kept that for the rest of the game and basically ran away with the game.
And Joe and I have played this game, I don't know, if I had to guess, 5 times, 6 times. And you can definitely do that. You can just take your starter deck and only tweak your starter deck. But we both were like, we're not going to do that. We chunked our entire starter deck and built new decks every single time. And that's really what made it fun.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
So anyway, that was Millennium Blades.
Next up, we have Nestlings. This is a new release by Tangerine Games. This was actually on Devin's top 5 Dice Worker placements before it actually released, because we got to, I don't want to say play test it, but we got to play it before it was released on a Tabletop Simulator. But this game is, you have your dice, you're going to roll them. There's 4 different biomes, and then you're going to be putting those dice out into those biomes. It has an area control or area majority mechanic, to where whoever places it first, they will get the first choice at resources. Now you can kind of change that by adding another one of your dice. If you have more than 1 dice, you will go first. But basically, it's a top-down, left-right way to figure out who's going first in that area. At the end of every round, you will be able to feed your nestlings the resources from your biome, which give you points. You have these cool little parts of a circle that you're trying to fill out. That's going to give you points at the end of the game. You have gathering goals, which are just during game victory points of you have one resource from each biome, you have pairs from each biome. So it's a really cool kind of resource management, set collection area control, dice placement. It's a whole bunch of everything. I got to play it quite a few times because I was sick a couple weeks ago and I was in my game room locked away, and this game was just set up, and I played it back to back to back to back. I got to try out the solo. The solo plays very easy. It's easy to manage. It's a little bit swingy, but that's you kind of expect that with dice and a area majority kind of game in the solo, right? The game definitely shines at higher player counts. The first time we played it was at 3, and I really enjoyed that. So it's a great game, but I think just you need 3 people. It's not made for a solo. The solo's fine, it works good, but it's definitely not made for that. The game shines at those higher player counts.
I'm excited that you have this now because I do want to play it again. I haven't played it in over a year now, so
yeah, we'll get the families together and the girls can roll the dice.
Yeah. Now or never. I got to solo this, right?
Last week.
Yeah, that was last week. I love this game. This really solidified for me how much I love this game. I played it now back-to-back months. I just think it's a fantastic game. This is what I want. This is a true engine builder. You get to start from the beginning with no production whatsoever. And you have whatever it is, 6 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, to generate as much production as you can, and then that's what you're scored on, right? You're scored on your production, and that's what I want. That's what I 100% want in a game, is just one where I get to build an engine and make it as efficiently as possible. We'll call it the variable setup in this, for me, is like perfect, because every game I do feel is different, because the way you kind of come in from the sides, and then wherever you enter, like that's it. That's now your choice to build out from. I don't know, man. I think this game is so good, and the fact that the solo I still really just enjoyed. I got to enjoy building it. Lacey and I enjoyed when we played it. I personally like that you can literally plop any of the 6 scenarios and just do that, right? And just, you don't have to
go through the whole campaign.
Yeah, through the whole campaign. I wanted to, because Lacey and I last month played the above side. I wanted to play the below side, and so that's what I did, was do the, whatever they call it, not the Underdark, that's D&D, but whatever they call it. I played the Underground. That's I think it's just called Underground. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fantastic game. I highly recommend it. So that's now or never.
Pericle. So this one is one that I have been getting into quite a bit lately. I won't go super deep into it, just because I actually did just record my review for it not too long ago. But Pericle is a tabletop role-playing game that advertises itself as a GM-less tabletop role-playing game. So there is a website that they use that just keeps track of everything. It keeps track of those statuses. It keeps track of the movement, of the health points, all those kind of things. It's a very basic fantasy story. You're captured, you have to escape, you go to the docks,
Solid.
You find some magic, you upgrade your swords, you upgrade your archer, all that kind of stuff.
Solid.
Right? So it's just a
tried and
true fantasy. Yeah. You're gonna fight the trolls. There's the orc. Are you gonna kill it, or are you gonna let it live? Right. The solo, you can play it solo, but you have to have at least 3 characters. Managing 3 characters isn't the worst thing. It's not super bad, but somebody like me that's brand new into this side of gaming, I'm not super confident in hex-based movement and hex-based combat. some of that can get a little confusing, right? Like I've got a ranged character over here that, is this technically in my way? Do they have to roll this defense die? I'm not 100% sure. And then I've got this person over here that just wants to get close, and then I'm embattled with you. Can I pivot this way? I'm not 100% sure. Are they going to rotate? So like the website is telling you what they're supposed to do, but it's not super specific. So there's a lot of like, I'm just going to do it this way because this is what I think makes sense to me. So there's a lot of that, and that's okay if you're playing solo, right? Because who am I affecting? It's myself. But in a way, I kind of want to try it with more than one person so we can kind of have that discussion, right?
Yeah.
And be like, well, what do you think the dwarf would do in this instance, right? It's more of like a shared experience kind of thing that you're not necessarily getting with the solo play. It's been enjoyable. It's been fun. There's just a couple things here and there that are, it's probably just me being new or into that side of gaming. But,
so if you play with two, does somebody have to do two characters?
Yeah. So at that point, you'd probably just do 2 and 2, right?
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
you have your 4 characters. But yeah, it's been good. It's been enjoyable. And like I said, the story is, I did a 4-hour session where I just had my headphones in and just explored.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. It was fun.
So about what the tabletop RPG is about.
Exactly.
Rolling Realm Redux.
Yeah, so this one we got to play last week as well. Same game as Rolling Realms. If you know anything about Rolling Realms, it is a very basic roll and write. You have different cards that represent different realms, which are just different ways to score points, different scoring conditions. The cool thing about Rolling Realms Redux is it's no Stonemaier games. So they've just published a bunch of just different games. So there's stuff like Meadow, Legacy of You, Wonderland's War, Poker. So just a whole bunch of different realms to add into your base box. And this one is just bigger so that you can fit everything in. It's good. I enjoy this game. I don't think you enjoy it as much as I do. It's just a very basic roll and write. That's what it is. It did feel like the playthrough that we had of it drug on a little bit. There were a couple realms, and I've had this issue with the original box too. They're just hard to decipher what they are. You have to like really read into it to try to figure out what it's trying to tell you to do. But
yeah, it tells you in 2 sentences. So you got to understand the entire scoring for 2 sentences. Yeah, my problem is exactly that. Every time I've played Rolling Realms, I feel like the game has drug on. So I would put Imperial Settlers Roll and Write above this. They're both basic roll and writes, but Imperial Settlers I'm going to get done in 15 minutes, and this is going to take me 45 to literally play the same type of game. Yeah. No different. There's just not, I don't know. And then my other thing with this one is I think you can also bog the game down even more if you try and play it perfectly. Yeah. Like if you try and like maximize, oh, I'm going to get these hearts, which lets me get an extra dice, which lets me do this and get the coins, and I'm going to get this dice number and do this. And you do that for 27 turns, you're really going to bog down the game. So unless like everybody you're playing with is like
we're
cool
just rolling,
and we're doing that, like we're going to try and like we're all going to try and
doing
like
a 90-minute game
hyper
of Rolling
score,
Realm.
you know, then you're just the guy that's sitting there like min-max crunching everything. And to a game I already think gets bogged down and slow, you can make it so much worse with those pumpkins and coins and whatnot.
Going back to kind of like with Paracle, what I was saying is like, I like playing this one solo because when I'm playing solo, it's really just I'm just going to do these random realms. I've had enough putting it away kind of thing, right? So to me, that's kind of where I see this game fitting is the rule book is there. Yeah, it tells you to do 3 realms, 3 rounds. Honestly, just do however long you want to.
Yeah,
until you're
and
done
that was
with
the other
it.
thing, right? I think you could do a set of 3 realms and play it in 20 minutes, and
that's it. That's the game.
That's the game.
Yeah.
And then next time you just do a different
Do
set
different
of 3.
realms,
You
yeah.
don't need to do. I mean, nothing carries over, so like
Yeah.
you have 0 reason to do it 3 times. So anyway, that was Rolling Realms.
Scholars of the South Tigris. This one is one that I got to play, and then talking about the games that were play to win. This is the one that I won. So Devin has his here in his collection, and right over here on this side. And I didn't have one in my collection just because I never had the need for it because Devin had it, and if I want to borrow it, he'll just let me borrow it. But yeah, I got to play this one. This is the reason why I didn't get to play Arcs, because Devin had to go somewhere during the con, so I started this game with somebody. I ended up teaching it to him, which I am very proud of myself for teaching this person this game because this is a pretty difficult one.
That is a feat.
And I think I did a pretty good job at it. I did end up crushing the guy.
Maybe you didn't do such a good job.
But he understood everything. He was like, oh, I see. I should have done this, and that. So it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And now I get to actually try the solo on it. I've never played it solo. So I'm excited to actually have it in the collection. It's a good one. It's one that I really enjoyed.
Real good. So, Skull King. This was the first game I played at that con. This was a
trick-taking game where you're betting.
Yeah, this is a trick-taking game.
Yep.
Wait, where you're betting?
Yeah, you're saying like, isn't this the one where it's like, I think I'm gonna win this trick, and this is how many points I get?
Paul doesn't play trick-taking.
No,
games.
I swear that's this game.
Yes, that is every trick. That is the trick-taking mechanic.
No, but you're saying like I bet I win 3 of the 4.
Yeah, that is trick-taking. You play spades, that's what you do. You play hearts, that's what you do. That is the trick-taking mechanic. Paul doesn't play trick-taking. Yes, this is a trick-taking game in which you do normal trick-taking mechanics by seeing how many...
No, you're making a bid.
How many tricks you're going to win. Yep, absolutely. Like every trick-taking game, you see how many tricks you're going to win. Yeah, and so the big draw of this one is 2 things. One, I don't remember how many rounds you play, but I'm going to say 10. Every round is how many cards you get. So you start round 1 with 1 card, round 2 with 2 cards, round 3 with 3 cards, and so on, right? So in round 1, when you are claiming your tricks, only one person's actually going to win the tricks. So like, you better not everybody at the table say they're going to win 1, right? And then round 2, only 2. And so it got like hairy quick. I think by round 3, I claimed 2, he claimed 1 over there, he claimed 1 over there, he claimed 1 over there, and we're like, okay, well, somebody's not right. But it was overall very basic trick taking. With its little special is you had more than just a trump suit. So you had the black, which was your trump suit, but then you had pirates that beat the trump, or mermaids that beat the trump, but pirates beat mermaids, or there was Blackbeard that beat everything except for a mermaid. Mermaid beat Blackbeard, and so it had this kind of rock, paper, scissors with the special stuff. And then, honestly, the thing I found the neatest and most unique was it had these flags which backed you out of the round completely. So it was guaranteed way, I cannot win this because I'm playing a flag. But yeah, it was cool. Other than that, it was pretty standard trick-taking game. I obviously played with people that were not standard trick-taking people because I'm just free-balling, but final scores were roughly, 360 to 72 to 60 to 50 to 45, and I was that 300 and something. Nobody stuck me. I called my bets dang near every time. I went kneel several times, and nobody stuck me with tricks then. So it was.
You sent me the scores, and you said, "Guess which one I am."
Yeah, but overall, I thought it was cool. Just a different take on trick taking. I think I would almost always rather play spades, but if this was out, I would play it again.
Terraforming Mars. So. This was another one that Kirsten and I played on our date day. This was the first one. I actually talked her into going to D20 to play Above and Below, and then I said, oh yeah, but I'm also going to bring Terraforming Mars, and she was like, okay, let's do it. So we got to play it. This is probably my number 3 game. It's definitely in my top 5 games of all time. Absolutely love this game. And it's been a while since Kirsten played it with me, and it's been a while since I've actually played the physical copy.
So easy to play the app.
Yeah, the app is
makes
amazing.
you fly through a game.
And when you
hour.
and I know all the cards, it's like, I know what that card does. I know what that card does. We'll just play it. So I kind of, just refreshed her on the rules, and we got to playing. It was a very long game. Her and I both, her and I both like took it very slow. We both decided, let's not terraform Mars. Let's just build out this sweet tableau to where we can do all these kind of things. So the game ended up taking us just over 4 hours. And really, like, towards the end of it, we were both looking at each other, not knowing who was going to be winning. And again, this is one of my favorite games of all times. At first, I was like, I've got this in the bag, easy. But at the end, I was just like, holy crap, I might lose. And if I do, I will never hear the end of it.
You wouldn't.
So, we're getting to scoring, whatever. And we score hers first. And I think she got like, I don't know, it was like 111 or 113 or something like that. And the highest score I've ever had in the game is like 115, somewhere right around there. And I was like, holy crap, she just did amazing. Ended up scoring some stuff. And I ended up getting like one more milestone than she did or something. And I beat her by like 3 or 4 points. It was just very close. And again, that was my highest score that I've ever gotten in the game. And it was just really good. It was super satisfying. I know she felt super good about herself doing so well.
Yeah.
And I just felt just awesome being able to play one of my favorite games. And the fact that it was a 4-hour game and neither of us felt that it was 4 hours, and then the fact that we got to play Above and Below afterwards, like, it was just a really great experience getting to play this game. So
yeah. Steve, you I think are missing out. I absolutely love Terraforming Mars as well. I have Ares Expedition. I really do like Ares Expedition, but to me, there's nothing that beats
it's so good.
this. But it also depends on the type of person you are, because Ares Expedition does play in about half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not that every game in Terraforming Mars is 4 hours, but I mean, truthfully,
You're
going to play the 2 hour, 2.5 hour mark, somewhere in there, depending on how much person's pushing up stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You really control when that game ends, because you can just start pushing up the oceans, the temperature, like all that stuff. But her and I were just like, nah, we like these cards.
Yeah. But man, building out your whatever, right? Your ways of building oceans, or just there's so much variety. The deck being so big, and I don't know. It's great.
My favorite thing with the game is getting the little like bacteria or the animals, right? Where you're just caching them on your card over and over, and then when you get to, I think it's 10 oxygen, you can start getting pets for the cities, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just really cool, and there's so many different ways to go at it, and that's what Prelude does also, right? It kind of pushes you in this direction, and I don't know, it's a great game. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So that was Terraforming Mars. I played Trismegistus. I kind of had to last minute do a solo because Paul couldn't make one of our Friday streams, and I had played this relatively recently enough that I'm like, okay, I know it, so I'm just gonna
play it.
Yeah, I'm gonna bust this out really quick. And I think this game is good. I did beat the solo pretty bad, and I added in some of the like
harder modules.
Not modules. They have like a list of tweaks for the solo, basically giving it starting stuff. And I had given it about half of them. So I guess I'm gonna have to do more, but I also think it's just probably one I won't play solo. Like, to me, not every game has to have a perfect solo, and I'm fine with that. But this is a game I do want to play more. I really like the transmuting. I like, to me, I don't know, I think I said this last month, but to me, I really like the alchemy theme when I play, any of the Elder Scrolls games. I am an alchemist in there and make really strong potions, and it is fun.
I thought it was super awesome. Somebody like jumped in the chat and was like, "Is this an alchemy game?" Like just immediately, just looking at it. So like, the fact that they can recognize that just by looking at the board, like that screams this theme is very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think it's a really good game. This game I think did not. I think this game like probably slipped under the radar because
It was right around COVID.
I was gonna say it is so. It is not a complex game, but it has so many symbols and the colors and the way the potency works when you draft a die based off the pool size, but the color doesn't matter then. But whenever you're doing this action, the color does matter, and when you're doing this action, the symbol matters, and that adds this like unneeded overhead of the game of like having to know how that works. Like, I know what I want to do. I want to transmute this over. Oh, but I actually need a white dice that's specifically this symbol so I can get this thing to then transmute. That adds a lot to it. Now, I think it's a good complexity for it, but I do think that like is definitely adds to the barrier of entry. Like a person playing it new for the first time, it's just an overwhelming amount of things to learn and teach them, and you have to teach them. So I think that's its downside, but other than that, I think it's great.
What I think was interesting about it is, you always see like multi-use cards. This is multi-use dice, right? Because it's the color, the symbol, whatever else.
The potency based on how big the pool is.
So I think that's super cool that they were able to do like a thing that's done very regularly, but with dice.
Yeah. So I don't know. I am glad I played this because it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. So. Zolkin.
Yeah, the last game that we got to play up in Ardmore with Joe. This is one that we played a couple years ago at BGG Spring, I believe.
One of them.
Yeah, and we absolutely loved it. This was the first T game that we played.
Yeah.
T game. And
besides Trismegistus,
that's right. Trismegistus is technically the first one.
Was the first, but since we've been playing with Joe, this was the first. Like we're like, okay, each con, let's play one of the T games. This was the first one because it's Zolkin.
Yeah, and it is great. This game, if you don't know anything about it, the main gimmick to the game is there's these gears that go in the middle. And really what you do on your turn is you either place a worker out on a gear or you pull a worker off of the gear. And the longer that you have your workers on these gears, the stronger these actions get. So that's a really cool mechanic that they do. Now, during this game, I think it took all of us about halfway through the game to remember how do we score in this game, because we had completely forgotten basically just like how to play because it had been years since we'd done it. But once we got there, it all kind of like clicked. It all kind of came back to us, and I think we all walked away from it just realizing like, oh yeah, this is a great game. This is one that we do need to play again.
Yeah, it was fantastic. As Paul alluded to, none of us reread the rules. We honestly all thought because it's giant gears and
it's two moves.
We knew it's placing workers and picking up workers. Then we thought, oh, we can just bust it out and play it, But the fact that it had been a couple years, like we didn't quite remember what every action on the gear is, obviously, that you're
and
pulling
that there's
up for.
Mid-game scoring.
Yeah, how we forgot all about like then the scoring, and we were like.
We're like 2/3 through this game, and we've got 10 points.
Like, all I keep doing is getting corn and spending corn, and upgrade a couple tracks that are no victory points. I'm like, how do I get points? And so about halfway through, it like began clicking for us all, like Paul said. But that was in hindsight, we should have, like one of us, re-remembered, refreshed everybody, and then the game would have been much quicker and breezier too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it's great. It's a great T game.
Absolutely fantastic.
That seemed daunting at first. Once take a turn or two, it runs smoothly. Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think once once you've done a round or two and seen it and you understand, then it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like, this is a turn.
Yeah.
I'm placing stuff, and then I want to wait because I want that guy to get around to this action to pull it up so I can upgrade or do whatever, get a skull or whatever the case is, get more corn. So
Corn.
but yeah, that was Zulkin.
Next up, we have Unmatched Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
So this is the newest one that I've gotten into the collection. Like we've said, we like Unmatched, mainly just the Marvel boxes, just because we like Marvel.
We like Marvel.
So we actually did a playthrough of Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it.
So we actually did this for a video. We filmed it last week or the week before, one of the two. Video should be coming out probably not this week, but next week.
It's a short video.
It is a short video. So you should stay tuned for it. But I just, in general, I think Unmatched is like, it's perfect for what it is. It is random. Somebody's probably going to get lucky. Somebody is probably going to get unlucky. But the game ends dang quick every time. We've had one time that's really been drawn out. And that was early on into our playing Unmatched, kind of learning from that experience.
Yeah.
Most time, 20-minute match, somebody comes out on top. Honestly, what I like the most about Unmatched is there's like virtually no healing. There might be a point or two, but there's virtually none. It's just
dueling and
race pushing the guy to the bottom, and so that's what really. It's when you add healings and blockings, and well, I guess it does have blocking, but that kind of stuff that really draws it out. And so,
and what else is really cool is just thematically, like how they make these characters feel so good, right? Like Miss Marvel is stretchy, right? So she was at a range, but she could melee at range.
Yeah,
kind of
it was
right?
really neat in that she's still a melee character, but she can do a range, one extra space. Which totally makes sense.
And then you've got Squirrel Girl that just has up to 8 squirrels at a time on the board, just doing little bits of damage. So I don't know, it's really cool just how they integrate all these characters into this system.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, and finally we have
the White Castle.
The White Castle. Sorry about dogs clanging.
I think that's the last one.
Yeah.
So the White Castle, we actually got to play this one quite a bit this month. Well, you and I played it twice, and then I think I soloed it twice.
Quite a bit is twice, and that is quite a bit for a couple dads.
Well, no, I mean, and even just for one game, right? Like generally,
that's what I'm saying. That's quite a bit.
When we play games, we don't generally repeat them. But we got to play this one at the con, and actually got to pick this one up at the con. I think I paid $25 for it, and this is a game that I've just wanted for a while.
A virtual flea market.
Yeah. And so I think the first playthrough that we had at the con, that one was really good. The setup and everything felt good. Felt like we were doing a lot of... we were able to combo a lot of moves, right? So if you don't know anything about the White Castle, it's you have 9 moves for the whole game, but you can combo a ton of stuff. So in reality, every move that you want to take, you want to do at least 2 to 3 actions. Feels real bad when you're just doing one action. Our second playthrough, we had a lot of kind of feel bad movements, I feel like. The variable setup in the game can be very, very variable, and it can really dictate how the game is played.
Yeah, it was an impressive playthrough is the best way to put it.
That is a good word for it.
There was no real good combos to have, and so it was an entire, when one action is, we'll call it 10% of your turn, 11, whatever. When 10% of your game, is going and getting 2 resources, to then the next 10% of your game getting to do one action that doesn't combo, I had told Paul afterwards, if that was my initial playthrough of White Castle, I would have probably been like, it was all right. Thankfully, I know how great in combo it is.
Yeah, and then I got to play this one solo a couple times. I got to play it with the solo that comes out of the box. and I had read that the solo is very difficult. And
Yeah, I heard it was just bad, right?
yeah, so it's interesting because okay, it's basically like I think like Trismegistus, right? So you have your deck, your AI deck, and you flip it over, and so the one that's revealed, it tells you which dice to draft, right? If that dice isn't available, you flip it again. Well, if you flip it the first time and that dice is available, it only does that one card. If that dice isn't available and you flip another one, it does both actions. So on each, or it does both cards. On each card, there's 2 actions. So it can either do 2 actions on a turn or 4 actions on a turn. And so if it does that a lot, it does just tons of movement, right? It does tons of stuff that you just can't do. You know you're not going to get 4 turns multiple times throughout the game. And what's funny is the easy AI, it makes you go first, so you draft the die. Well, when you draft the die, then they go, there's a higher chance that they're going to have 2 turns in a row, right? The medium AI, the AI goes first, and you go second. So it's like, wait, no, it should be the other way around because...
I guess my thing, when it says, what is it exactly saying when it's going to draft the die? Like, it wants a white die on the left or a white die on the right?
It tells you, it says left, middle, end. So it says like it's drafting the middle orange die. If there is no middle orange die, then that's it. Like, then it goes again.
I understand.
It would be much smarter if it said the leftmost this color, the rightmost this color.
Yeah, to me it'd be just left and right like a human.
Yeah, but it's not. It includes the middle one. So if the middle one's not there. So then I played that, got absolutely destroyed. And then I printed out the BGG solo, which changes just a couple things here and there. It changes in between round scoring. And it was much, much closer, and it felt a lot better. It didn't feel as oppressive as a game.
Yeah,
so
most time people can create some very creative things.
What was cool about it was actually the person that designed it has actually designed other solos for Devere. So they were just like, I'm going to help you guys out and just do another. So it's like a legit designer that did it. And I think they started including that one in the box as well. So it was good. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I really liked it.
Yeah. And that was our 39 games.
That was a lot.
Of the month. Yeah.
Yeah. You played tons of games.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Just had more time, so.
That was good.
A lot of it has to do with 2 things, right? So I'm streaming a solo once a week.
So that's 4 or 3.
Right. 3?
You've been out once a week, basically.
Yeah.
Or once a month.
I guess. So anyway, that's
3 to
4. And then I'm playing a family game once, so that's 4. So that's 8 games. So
8 extra games a month.
On top of just whatever else I get to, trickle in.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Selling one of your Marvel. Dennis, actually, I did already sell it. So, long story short, we got that haul and then had the convention that was having the virtual flea market. So we were able to take a lot of the duplicates and sell them there. Right?
Sold them off pretty quickly after you got them.
Yeah, and so it was just good timing of the thing that we were able to go to the convention. It was like an hour and a half thing of a virtual flea market where they basically took the entire convention hall, made it that. We got to sell some other things too, but primarily we got rid of a bunch of games that I had gotten duplicates between really the 3 different halls. And so, sorry, Dennis, I
wish we could have sold it to you.
Yeah, little late, didn't know.
Going to our Ardmore trip, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we generally, we meet at a public library in Ardmore. We email them, we rent out the room, and they're pretty much open from 9 to 5. So we have all day gaming. Yeah. Well, so we went up to Ardmore and we got to play Millennium Blades. I think that was like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. I don't remember. Maybe not that long.
Yeah, it was probably 2.
9 to 11:45
right
or so.
around noon
Yeah,
when
yeah.
everything happened.
So as we're driving up to Ardmore, we see this building and just water is just.
It's not as we're driving, as we're pulling in
as
the
we're pulling
parking
into the
lot
parking lot
of the library.
across the street. There's just like water coming out of the concrete.
And I am instantly, I'm like, oh man.
That sucks for those people.
I'm like, they got a slab leak. That completely sucks.
Yeah.
You know?
And so, yeah, I was just like, yeah, that blows for those people. Let's go play games. So we finished Millennium Blades. We get Age of Comics set up, completely set up.
Which takes Paul like over 30 minutes.
It's a terrible setup. I hate the setup. And I think we explained the game.
Yeah.
I think. And we were just about to start taking our turn, and the librarian comes in and she goes, hey guys, I'm sorry, we're closing at noon. And we were just like, what? And they're like, yeah, the daycare across the street had a plumbing issue. And we're like, yeah, we saw, that's not an issue. That is like a catastrophe. And they were like, yeah, they've been trying to shut the power off for the last 3 hours, the water off for the last 3 hours, and they can't. So we have to shut down the entire block, and you guys can't be here. So we're just like, well, what do we do? We've got 5 more hours of gaming. So we're let's go to like Starbucks. Let's go to Barnes and Noble. And then I think Devin said, let's go to Bueno.
There was a Taco, we pulled up a list of places, and there was a Taco Bueno. And I knew nobody eats inside of a Taco Bueno. I said that to these guys. I said, nobody eats inside of a Taco Bueno, and they have the big, tall, upright tables. And I was like, I know we won't be cramped on some table. And they both were like, we're not going there.
I'm not going to Taco Bueno.
They were both like, we're not going there.
So Devin says, go ask the librarian where we can go. So I go to the librarian, I'm like, where could we go? And she says, there's a Taco Bueno about 3 minutes from here. And they've actually got kind of like a private room. I was like, private room? What? So we're like, fine, let's go to Taco Bueno. Like, let's go. Walk in, there's a table, literally, you walk in the door and there's just a giant table. And we're just like, I guess we're setting up here in front of everyone. And we started setting up, but then we look over and there is kind of this little private room.
Yeah, worked out great.
So we set up in there, no AC.
Yeah, so they didn't have AC running in that room. So it's mighty stagnant.
Pretty stagnant, pretty yucky in Oklahoma in August. But we did get some chicken potato burritos. We got some cinnamon chips.
No, they didn't have cinnamon chips. I was very upset by that.
We didn't have that, but we had as much food as we wanted. We had the same playlist playing for 5 hours and no AC, but we got some good gaming in, and that will always be a memory of our Ardmore trip.
Yeah, playing at Bueno. So.
Played 5 hours of games at Taco Bueno. Who else has done that?
Yeah. But yeah, so that was our month in review. So Paul, what do we got coming up this next month?
So we talked about we've got a White Castle playthrough coming out. We've got Unmatched coming out, the Paracle review. Got a couple of live streams coming out. I do think we need to change our schedule a little bit because some things have changed for our live playthroughs. So originally next Friday we had an Age Contrived, but that has changed. That's actually just going to be an edited playthrough. So for right now we just have a to be determined for next week kind of thing.
Yeah,
so there is the
wrong one.
Oh, that's August.
Let's see.
I'm going to change it real quick. There is September.
There's our September, so we'll probably tweak it up and change it somewhat. But...
Yep. So we've got something next week, and then I'm planning on doing the White Castle the following week. I might change that. I've actually just been really interested in Nightfall and doing the campaign, but that is like a 3 to 4 hour campaign, so I'm unsure if I'll do that solo that Friday.
Nightfall, we'll the Red Raven?
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that campaign, remember?
You never did that?
No, I haven't done it yet.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed it quite a bit.
I don't remember what I was doing, but yesterday while Lola was watching Diana or something on Disney Plus. I just had my phone out and I was watching the campaign of that, and I was just like, I kind of want to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm considering doing that. Devin just covered it, but he's got Teotihuacan right here.
So I just got in the Master Deluxe. Take me 2 hours to put together Teotihuacan. Also, that does not do it justice with how big that box is, by the way. It's not quite as like deep as it is wide, but it's probably 2/3 of the way.
That's impressive.
It is a thick box. It was heavy, and then I added in the 5th player stuff. And
Which you're just being like super optimistic, wanting that 5th player.
you know what? Like, I don't know how much that was, truthfully, but I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna buy it all.
All in.
Yeah.
All in.
I mean, the thing is, like, it's like they market plan for
made
it.
it.
Like, they have literally container spots for the green player, so it's like you'd have an empty one, or who cares, just buy whatever.
So yeah, we've got Teotihuacan. Devin will be soloing that. I've got my BGA monthly. I've got a good amount of games on BGA going on. So that will be on Monday.
I got one 2 games because I actually don't know how to do the Burrow solo either. Also, Teotihuacan, just telling y'all now, if you guys actually care, that it will be like base game. I am not adding in, I think it's got 10 modules.
And we know Devin doesn't like modules.
Yeah, I mean, I got it for that kind of stuff, right? But I think it was one of those, it was like the viticulture style where every expansion added 3 modules or pieces you could put in, and they just kept making expansions. So anyway.
Yeah, and then what's new in the collection towards the end of the month, and then we got another to be determined live stream. So we'll figure that out whenever it comes.
Yeah.
So
that's all we
good
got.
month.
Yeah, that's
hopefully
all
a
we
good
got
month coming up.
I don't know. Did you mention videos coming up? We got White Castle.
Yep, White Castle. I've got my Paracle review. We've actually got a couple Kickstarter reviews coming in. Unmatched. Kickstarter previews, not reviews. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's the stuff to look forward to. So for everybody that was here along with us for this couple hours, we definitely appreciate it as always. Gonna say it like I always do. Please like, comment, subscribe. All those things really do help us. I mean that when I say that.
Yes.
Small channel. Plus, honestly, we like seeing the comments. But all those things help us. Do help our channel grow. We'll see you on the next one.